Okay, we're back in the Prokofiev Sixth Sonata, and I've decided, in the interest of what I've been saying, that I need to be reviewing the first movement as well as the second movement. So I've started my review of the second movement. I've found areas that need attention. Now I'm going to go right to areas in the first movement that I know need attention, especially the more complex things that start to happen after measure 92, which is più mosso del tempo primo. Stuff happens all over the place, but I'm going to start there because it's a convenient demarcation point. So, or maybe just before, because at 87. Something I have to remind myself of. More particularly, I have to make it more physically obvious. And alas, I have to shift attention at the same time to the canonic entry on the thumb. Just played a different fingering from what I had written and what I'm used to, so let me see. I went 2, 3, 4 and just did it, and previously I had turned to thumb right away on B. Yeah, well, I think the fingering I decided on is a little more compact. So 4, 3, 2, 1 for the 4 notes. Why not? Let's see, so the first one is on A. How does it modulate? Gets down to C, and then it just establishes its new tonality there. So why not start there? Arpeggios are different. Okay. It's time to step back and just describe it structurally. First, this arpeggio happens, then it happens again, it happens a third time, doesn't seem to change. This is good. So, gets into a diminished arpeggio. F minor major at the top, so I am to the F. Arpeggio goes. There we go. So 1, 3, 2-3 to start with because of where I was. This should not be hard. There we go. Okay, third entries on D. So the first one was on A, finishing on C. The second was on C. And then after all this, it climbs. It started, could have reestablished itself on C, but he has it climb to C sharp, and then, rather than sticking with the note he repeats, he does it on D. Okay, so let's try this section. A flat C. Okay. Nicely agrees with the half diminished seventh. Left hand. Okay. C is important, obviously. The left hand thumb is still holding the C. Chosen a different fingering. You need 3 and 5 in the bottom. Okay, good. Well, this is not a hard section, I guess. Left hand comes in again. Third time. And the left hand comes in again. Is that the third time the left hand does that? He had minor chord here, but 3 times it uses that mode. Actually, an imitation in the left hand for a change. So. Okay, the D, rhythmically different. So he writes an accent to make sure the D in the left hand is heard vocally. So we actually get, rather than just fragmentation, in the left hand, we get an espresso statement. So what I'm feeling is I'm just reading here. It's not sight reading, but I call this sight reading syndrome, when my playing reflects a sense that I'm in real time trying to grab information right from the score and turn it into sound. That generally, certainly in a tempo of this sort, is far too demanding a task. In other words, trying to translate this into real-time conviction, unless the scoring is really expansive, or unless I can think way ahead of the music, is just not going to do me any good. So I have to internalize much more of this information. For a start, just as I did here, whoops, I'm building bigger expressions, I'm building bigger fluent gestures. And in this section, so far, what I did was just say, oh, another entry, without any conviction, without a sense of, okay, here comes this parallel entry, or this is how he's developing the idea, or this is what's different. So I need to reach that point where I understand and can announce for my own purposes what's going on. I, in my teaching, use the analogy sometimes of a conductor, that in fact, I'll even have some of my students pick up a pencil and conduct, because if they know where the entries are, if they know what they're doing there, then they're making a conscious effort to guide what's going on, which is to say they're acting like a co-composer, a collaborator, if you will, but they're knowing what they're doing, and that's for sure what I wasn't doing a moment ago. So as you learn, you have to learn what you're doing. You have to become conscious of what's going. Okay, that's easy enough. That's the melody. Oops. Need that reiterated note. And I need enough presence in the left hand as well. Actually, even more than the right hand does, because the right hand has reiterated Ds. The left hand has this very long D. And if I don't give it enough kick to begin with, some melodic connection with the mezzo forte espressivo following won't be there. Well, admittedly, Prokofiev is doing something a little bit screwy, because he writes piano on the downbeat of 111, but when the melody continues in the left hand, he writes it mezzo forte espressivo from the second beat of 112. So, but I rather think I need to give a little more punch to this D regardless. So I'm going to notate that for myself, that I need. Sharp. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of these repeated notes. C and D. And then in this case, it doesn't happen all the time, but in this case, the reiterated note is the one that starts subject and verb. Lots of B. And C. Back to B. So B is really the dominant pedal point here. It happens over and over. We keep going back to B. Probably noted that. It lasts all the way to 146 at least. 147. Well, no. 140. So 150, 151, 152. 53. Okay. 150. I'm going to just write that. B pedal point. All the way through 150. One note too soon. Whoops. Lasts all the way to the downbeat of 150, 1, 2, 3, yes. And then it changes, and it's dramatic that B flat happens when it does. Okay, so we got to go back and make sense of this. Temporary C. It's interesting. I expected a note under my hand, but there isn't a note under my hand. I have to go down an octave, a ninth, actually, to find my B pedal. Let's see. I've been playing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2. Okay, the fragmentation, of course, has to be defined, because if I feel any arbitrariness, that's the way it's going to come out. I have to know why it's there, for my purpose. I don't know why I'm missing it. I'm stretching. No wonder I'm missing it. I'm convinced. I often love to go to thumb on the beat, so I could go 5, 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2. Leading. It entry at 123 on B, the B pedal. I'll stick with what I originally wrote because once I tell myself about it. So it takes from 123, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for a return entry of that theme. 131. That's a long time. Meanwhile, meanwhile, the B theme in all its glory is entering in octaves, fortissimo, augmentation. Okay, so all kinds of things highlighting it. The augmentation certainly is twice as slow, although the tempo may be a little faster. So it's not quite twice, but it really feels so this entry here seems secondary in significance. The entry in 129 is much more important. We haven't had that in a long time. And the longest line melodic expressive thing is actually listed espressivo as 111 to 12, 13. That's much more long line than any of these things, which are just full of fragmentation. So getting to 129 this is very much an orchestral kind of device with simplicity, probably in the strings, the violins maybe, with lots of scattered utterances coming from different bodies in the orchestra. So, and that's the way I want it to sound anyway. That always appeals to me, that chord movement, because it's so unexpected and it's so thick and it's such quick harmonic motion. So I'm going to go to 129, where I would say, texturally speaking, stuff's happening. I may add the sostenuto because I want this to hold for a whole note. Didn't hold, did it? One reason I was pushing down my soft pedal. That's the tricky part about sostenuto. You don't always know where it is. Obviously, I misused the sostenuto pedal because I caught far too much. get the idea. I'm not executing it well. But I get what's going on, certainly. We get fairly large melodic fragments. I'm going to go to 138 because it looks like fun. So. I've got to remember to let go of my left hand quarters. They're not real quarters, or are they? Yes, they are. They are. They need to let go. Off. 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 It's the same note. It's doubled the melody of the right hand. But it gives much more sustaining power to the right hand. The left hand drops out. Doubling the D. If I put my sostenuto down right away, mostly I just get the double D. If I put it down later, because I'm playing 16th notes in the right hand, even though it won't sound terrible, I'll get elements of the D minor chord. And I actually just want to hear it. Well, I'm still doing it. There we go. Here it's frenzy, goes all over the place. So I want some ease. Whoops. That little reiteration, that's my hand redivision. It would have been. But I'm going. Actually, what I'm doing right now is recognizing that most of the busyness is in the right hand. It has dual purposes. You know, it's playing the melody, but it's also playing some of the decorative elements. And if I'm comfortable with it, I'll probably be comfortable with the other hand more or less. At the very least, I want to find out. So. Redivision from 146. I've also indicated my sostenuto use quite clearly by now. Now, actually, the right hand third change is not busy. And I remembered making sense out of the fingering here. And of course, forgetting it when I just played it before. All 1, 2, 3. Oh boy. I actually came up with a very simple fingering. And I wrote a very obvious mistake. I left out my second finger. And I was trying to be scalar. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. No problem at all. section. So I'm going to go back to 139. Well, that's too far up. That's a much easier. Let's see what's happening back here. Now I'm playing it currently the way I've redistributed it. And of course it doesn't sound continuous at all. I'm going to put it together. Oops. Accent on the C. If I play a C. Okay, so I have to ask myself, in 146 I was playing that figure with the right hand. Here I'm playing it. Is there any advantage to not? Well, certainly I can't play the third one with the right hand and do it. Or maybe I could. I'm torn. Well, there's another reason. And that is that down here, in the second version at 146, my right hand is already below that place, whereas here, my right hand is way up the top of the keyboard. My left hand is right on the G where it needs to go. Okay, so for now I'm going to stick with, have the left hand do that in the first version, have the right hand do it in the second version. Because of the context. I need a C. And I don't have time to look for it. I'm too busy thinking of other things. So I have to notice it and then tell myself, don't forget to play C. I can't be making that my primary focus. So, F, a part of both chords, but A on top and B on the bottom. I'm also, because I'm using sostenuto pedal, I really have to get off the C on the bass, so that the C sharp can be the only thing that holds. One of those things. I mean, I have to be able to execute this passage incidentally. I need to be able to play the C sharp purposefully and with strength, but I can't afford a busyness in the texture. And it simplifies. Still don't have that coordinated. with 1, 2. Although those are the closest fingers available. I've already been on 1 here. Right now I'm going to notate. I didn't actually write down any fingering before. I'm going to go with 2, 5. Because when my arm swings around, not having the thumb engaged will be easier. I've got the thumb here, tosses me into the keyboard, and I come back out, my hand stays straight, I can grab those 2 notes easily enough. Proof is in the pudding, as they say, but playing it in isolation confirms my hunch. The 2, 5 is easier than practically any other fingering I can think of that involves thumb. So, I already have the thumb engaged. I don't want to reuse it. Okay, the problem is that I'm also concerned with my right hand at that point. So I have to decide, what do I look at, if anything? Testing to see if I need help in my right hand. Right now I'm not going to bother with worrying about my foot. I'll just leave the sostenido down. Because I'm okay, so playing it in isolation gives me a clue to what I at least now need to do, which is to shift my attention to the right hand for the tritone, then shift it to the, did I say right hand? The left hand. Shift my attention to the left hand for the tritone, 2, 5, and then shift it to the FA for the right hand. So, and that's aided by the fact that the left hand plays longer notes, so it has time in advance to have that prepared, and then the right hand needs the guidance to get it up there. So, my left hand, I'm already sighting where my left hand is going to go. That gets my right hand room. Time. There it is. All right, things are happening. Practicing pedaling, so it's play the octave, let go, pedal, pedal, can be pedaled with the damper pedal. They have that indeterminate length to them with those infinite ties. engages me mentally. This, yes, I'm going from F to E flat through the black notes, two of the three black notes. And then B to E through a second finger black note. Here, the second finger was a white note. Okay, that helps a lot. White, black, white. It's sinewy. It undulates because of the second finger is changing roles. I actually don't need extra pedal help. Partly because the left hand has a dotted half note on the second beat, and I'm going to ignore at the very end. I'm going to hold it. Last half beat I'm going to let go. I would have had to let go at some point anyway, so. There's a shift, ottavo basso in the left hand. I have to know where I'm going. I also have to find my right hand down here on F. So I'm giving up position. So if I don't know where I'm going, I'm lost. I cannot get all that information that quickly from the score. For example, to get it accurately, I need to be able to look, to place my left hand, or feel. I could do it by feel, but I have to have the information in my head to tell myself to look for it. So and then it goes on. Okay, I'm going to take a break here.